everyone. This is a series of recording um, for network operating systems and services. So here we are going to work through this video series. We are going to work with this topology. Maybe later we will also add some devices, operating system services, servers to it, and enhance our configurations. But for now, this is a topology which we are going to use. And this topology comprises of a server and a client and two networks similar to that. So if you can see here, so this is a server. So we are going to use server 2022 for this, and that server is connected to a network or to a client here. It's a Windows 10 client. Same way we have another server, which is another 2022 Windows server, which is connected to another client. So here, if you can notice, this network belongs to 192.168.2.0/24. So all our networks here are, it's not mentioned anything, so it's by default, it's a /24. So if you can look here, this network is a 192.168.1.2 network, which is again a /24 itself. So what we have done is we are trying to connect this network and this network. So let's say it's a SDC network and this is a L server network. So we have two networks with two different IP addressing scheme, and that is connected here, and that is connected using another third network, which is a 10.0.0.1/30 network. So this is a /30 network. So we are assuming that this is going to be the public network or the internet or the interconnected networks. So the idea behind this series is we are going to connect two networks successfully, which is connected over a public network or an internet using secured connections, using the services which are available in a server operating system. So for this, to start with, we are just going to use a Windows server. So for this demonstration, I'm going to use a server 2022 and the client machines are Windows 10 machines. Maybe eventually when we move forward, after configuring the services and after configuring uh, the connectivity and the critical services, later we can also try to work out with other operating system services as well. Right, so this series has multiple small videos for you. So it starts with how we are going to install operating systems, so how we are going to install clients and servers using ISOs in a type 2 hypervisor. So why are we going to use a type 2 hypervisor? Because for me, for the resources I have, a type 2 hypervisor I think is more suitable than a type 1 hypervisor. So in my case, I'm going to use a VMware workstation for it. Uh, you may use a different type to hypervisor. So based on the research, based on the comfort zone, so you can use any type to hypervisors. Okay. Um, and the same way, the sources which I use to download the ISOs may vary from what you are trying to do it. So you usually, I would recommend you to go to Windows, Microsoft evaluation page and then download the copy of Microsoft evaluation. So I'm just typing it, evaluation center Windows 22. So so this is a page which I would recommend you to do it. So you can go here, download the ISO for server 22. The same way you can do it for server Windows Client 10 as well. So you have to complete your registration form, use your university student ID, student email address, so it should be fine. So this will be available for 180 days, which is precisely more than enough for us to complete the module. Um, the same way, if you want to use the open source, So I would recommend you to go and use Oracle VirtualBox. It's a open source, it's really good and effective. So for me, for my convenience, I'm using VMware. So you don't want to necessarily use VMware workstation for it. So what are the things we will be doing? This series of video is divided into maybe 6 parts or 7 parts. It depends upon how we start and progress. So the first part here, we will talk about how we are going to install the operating systems, the clients and the servers using an ISO which we have downloaded. And then how are we going to optimize the type to hypervisor? Maybe you have a 32 gig RAM or 16 gig RAM. So how are you going to optimize your settings so that it works better? We will configure the IP addresses in the clients according to the topology or according to the justification and try to establish network connectivity. You should be aware at this point that devices within the same network, if we configure IP addresses, they would be communicating. There's no issues. There should not be any issues. So this server with 192.168.1.1 and this client with 192.168.1.2, which is same IP addressing scheme, which means it's belongs to the same network. So which means they have to communicate successfully. The same way the L server and the client Windows 10 client here, they should communicate, they should successfully ping each other. But uh, this client and this client can't ping each other because they both belong to a different network. So that's something which we'll be doing at part 2, where we will be configuring routing and critical services, right? So initially, when we complete the part 1, the setup for the network, it should have a successful connectivity between this and this and this and this. Eventually, this server and this server can talk to each other because they belong to the same network as well, which is 10.0.0.1, but they can't ping a 192.168.1 or 2 network because they are different networks, and without routing it can't be possible. Right, so this is an introduction video, so we will move forward with other videos as well. So we start with installing the operating systems and then move forward.